So why do you need a portfolio? Your portfolio is your artist resume. It's what you show art directors, clients, and agents, and they'll look at it to see if you're a good fit for the job. So you want it to represent you well.
In other jobs, you have a resume that tells you your experience, and in these jobs, mainly is your portfolio, it's your work. It speaks for itself. That's all
Yeah.
you need.
They want to see your work. These are examples of your work and who you've worked with and how you can handle certain
Yeah.
projects. It's important. It represents you
So
and
whether
your
you're
skills.
self-taught, or have gone to a school, and it really doesn't matter at the end. It's your work. That's it. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what kind of portfolios do I need? That's something that you might be asking when you're starting. You're like, oh, um, which we learned as we went through our conferences, that we didn't have the right portfolios when we began.
Well, I coming from a completely online digital background, I didn't think I was like, when I will never need a physical portfolio. Oh, that's that's not in my
That's so
future.
ancient, right?
Yeah, who uses those?
And me coming from the other side, we're like, oh, a website and social media and all that. No, I have my little trusty box with with my prints, which you'll see at the end.
Yeah.
Um, so we know you need a website, and we talked about the beginning that you need social media, but social media is not your portfolio. A website is pretty much, I think a website is a must. A one-stop place
Yeah.
for them to quickly see your work, any client to see your work.
And I did, there are some people who use their social media as a portfolio, but I don't think it's one reason it's not as effective is that it's more difficult to share your social media than it is for a website where anyone can access a website. But if people are Googling you and people are doing an online search for you, your Instagram is not going to come up. A website will come up.
Right. And when you share that, if the person that's receiving it doesn't have Instagram, they have
Yeah.
to sign up for Instagram to go look at your, no one's going to take that
Mm-hmm.
long to actually look at work when there's so many out there that it's just ready to be
Mm-hmm.
seen.
It's another barrier to you that you don't
Right.
need. You don't want to create any barriers for people to access your work.
And that's going to come, that's a great thing to say, because that's what's going to come into play later on when we talk about the websites here. It's like, do not put any more obstacles, just
Yeah.
show it right away, show the work
Yeah.
and have it ready. So physical portfolios, you would only really need them when you go to conferences and you're going to be meeting for a critique, or you're actually meeting the person. um, any other time you're really not going to need a portfolio, a physical portfolio.
And I have a quick question, and
Mm-hmm.
because I think I have seen people do this, but I'm not sure. Do some people bring iPads to conferences for critiques and show their work on an
If that's what
iPad?
they have,
Is that a thing?
yeah, it's,
I
if
think.
I think I've seen that as well, when they don't have a physical portfolio, because it costs money to print
Yeah.
and to have one. And if you don't really use one, so as often, then yeah, an iPad with a
It
with
could
a
be an
with a
option,
website, it could be an option. Yeah,
but it is smaller. It's you're not going to be able to show your work as big and
there is something, and that's just personal preference, where you're touching the page and
mm,
flipping it, as it is so much as digital nowadays, that there is just some nostalgic quality to turning the page and looking at the piece, where in digital it's a little faster of a flip.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think in paper you take a little longer to look at the artwork,
Yeah.
but
And
that could just be me.
well, yeah, and our goal is to work in publishing and in print. So
Yes.
I think that also shows what your work will look like in print.
Yeah, that's a
Whereas
good point.
if it's only digital, they can't have a true, it's not a true representation of what your finished work would look like in a book.
Yeah, yeah, there's a disconnect. I, at least for me, I'm not great at reading books on Kindle, and I prefer a piece of paper still to really get into it. So for me, I would say If you're face to face with someone, it's a good idea to have a physical portfolio. Not a must, but I would say for me, I would prefer to have one.